This is the Unit 6 seminar on finance theory, most specifically compound interest. And for this unit, we have taken out the test for the unit. However, there will be a final assignment, so make sure after you've done your unit work to go on edmodo.com and print out the assignment. It'll be under the Unit 6 category. Okay, so let's make this full screen. Now, important information about compound interest is that we're talking about putting your money into the bank account and you're going to earn interest off the amount that's already there. With simple interest, you are only earning the interest on the principal only. However, with compound interest, that is calculated based on the accumulated value of the investment, which is the interest plus the principal. So before we go into the chart, just want to review the different terms that we're going to be using in the formula. So A stands for the future value of your investment, or the final amount. P is the initial amount invested. We also call that the principal. The initial value of your investment. I is the interest rate per compounding period, and N is the total amount of compounding periods. Okay, so if I'm just going to select this, now we have to actually talk about our compounding periods. When you say compound annually, that means our interest is going to be whatever interest amount that you get, that's going to be the amount that you're using for the year. So you don't really have to do anything with your number of compounding periods or your interest rate. However, with semi-annually, we're dividing the year into 2 interest periods. So for that reason, you have to divide your interest rate by 2, and you have to take the number of years and multiply the value by 2. So for example, if I had a problem that involves 2 years, each year has to be split into 2 compounding periods. So that's why you have to take the number of years and multiply it by 2. For a quarterly investment, we have to divide by 4 and multiply our N by 4. For a monthly investment, we have to divide by 12 and multiply our N term by 12. And for a weekly investment, there are 52 weeks in a year, so we have to take that into consideration. Okay, so our first problem is very simple, and we're going to use the simpler form of the compound interest formula. Now, just to go back, the formula at the beginning is a little bit more complicated. We take our P, principal, and you're multiplying by 1 plus R divided by the number of compounding periods to the exponent of your time to the power of the number of compounding periods. We can also write this formula. If we figure out our new I and our new N right from the beginning, the most basic version of this formula looks something like this. And that's what we're going to use when we're doing our problem. Final amount A is equal to the principal multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of N. And according to our exponent and BEDMAS rules, we always do the brackets and exponents first before we multiply by our principal. Okay, so using that formula, we're going to complete question number 1. So A is equal to P times 1 plus I to the power of N. Well, first of all, we have to determine what our principal is. So the $500 is the initial value that we're investing. Determine how much money you will have if $500 is invested for 6 years at 4% compounded semi-annually. Now we have to figure out on the side, with our notes, how the compounding period is going to affect my N and my I. So my interest rate is 4% per year. We have to convert that to a decimal. And then I also have to divide the interest by 2 to get a semi-annual situation. So I have 0.02 as my answer. For my N, I know that this question is asking me to invest for 6 years. So if N is equal to 6, I have to multiply that by the number of compounding periods by 2. So my total N is equal to 12. So to substitute that into the formula, 500 times 1 plus 0.02 to the power of 12. And if you punch that into your calculator, inside the brackets, I'm going to get 1.268241795. Now you're probably wondering why I didn't round and I wrote down all the decimal places that my calculator determined for me. Well, the reason for that is your textbook questions are very exact, and the reason they're extremely exact is because whoever wrote the answers used all their decimal places in order to calculate each answer. So I want you to get in the habit of doing that. On your assignment, you can round, and 4 decimal places would be accurate enough for your assignment. But for now, for all the seminar questions, we're going to try to use as many as we can. So when you punch in that into your calculator, you're going to get $634.12. So that is the total amount you will have after 6 years. Because this is a word problem, we have to do a written statement in our final answer. That's pretty straightforward. Let's go on to the next example. Rukshana borrowed $5,000 to start a small business. The interest rate on the loan was 9% per year, compounded monthly. She is expected to repay the loan in full after 4 years. So A, how much will Rukshana pay? So instead of investing money and earning interest, we're actually going to be borrowing money. So she's going to have to pay interest on her loan.